Welcome to Bloomberg Law. I'm Pacchia. Baseball fans and bankruptcy nerds like me came together this year when we saw two Major League Baseball franchises end up in bankruptcy court. Joining me now to discuss is Tom Lauria. Tom runs the financial restructuring group at law firm White Case and has worked on both the Dodgers and the Rangers Chapter 11 bankruptcy cases. Tom, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Pleasure.
These are unique bankruptcy cases. What really jumped out at you or surprised you when working on them?
Well, the issue that really is the wrinkle is the overlay between Major League Baseball's rules and regulations and the bankruptcy code. This is not a typical environment, and a baseball team is really not a typical business.
Right.
You've got very high-paid employees, and you've got very little EBITDA, and yet you have high value.
Yeah, these aren't just run-of-the-mill cases. It's not a particular matter of the media getting it wrong and just thinking that it's a high-profile case. There's more to it. They're not run-of-the-mill businesses. Let's talk about the Dodgers for a moment. Dodgers owner Frank McCourt. What's the likelihood he's going to hold on to this team through the entire Chapter 11 process and emerge still the owner?
I think it's going to be very difficult. The team is building liabilities. He's got significant exposure to his divorce settlement, and it's just hard to find any scenario where he's going to be able to generate enough money to satisfy the team's obligations and deal with his personal issues without selling the team outright.
So how's this going to turn out? We're going to have a change of ownership scenario. Is there anyone out there lurking in the wings to come in and take this team?
I think there are a number of people who are probably interested in the Dodgers. I mean, when you look at baseball, you've got the New York Yankees and the LA Dodgers.
Right.
So it's really a crown jewel franchise. And as you know, baseball teams are, very attractive toys to people with a big checkbook.
I want to talk about venue for a second. The LA Dodgers filed in Delaware bankruptcy court. The Texas Rangers stayed home. They stayed in the Northern District of Texas. What happened there? Why are the Dodgers in Delaware bankruptcy court? Why not California?
I'm guessing Mr. McCourt didn't see LA as a home court advantage, or home field advantage, maybe is a better way to put it. As you may know, he's very unpopular out there, and having to go to court in Los Angeles probably would have been tough for him. So he was hoping for, I think, a more neutral environment, believe it or not, by going on the road.
That's one of the great things about bankruptcy. You're allowed to basically file almost wherever you
well,
like. That's an overstatement,
right.
to be sure, but the venue rules in bankruptcy are certainly more flexible than they are in other areas of the law.
That's true.
Let's talk about the Rangers case. Baseball legend Nolan Ryan, one of the owners of the Rangers, acquired them at bankruptcy auction. Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, of course, won this team in the worst way. Tell us about the auction process. How did that unfold? That must have been fascinating to see that process play out.
It absolutely was. We had hoped to get through the process without a competing bid. And in fact, as a technical matter, I think when Cuban's bid came in, it really wasn't compliant. So we sat around and basically cooled our heels for, I think 12 hours while the lenders and other parties in the case kind of worked the Cuban bid up to where it was a competing bid. And then, boy, when they got into the process, they really came at us with all guns ablaze. And there was a point in time where it looked like we just didn't have the money on our side to get the deal done. So we used a couple of tactics at the last minute to kind of convince Cuban that our pockets were deeper than they were. And I think it was about 2 in the morning when he threw in the towel to a standing ovation in the courtroom.
I'm sure. And of course, Mark Cuban is fresh off an NBA championship. You think there's any likelihood he's going to throw his hat into the ring for the Dodgers should it come to that?
Well, he's one of the rumored players in this. To my knowledge, nobody has really officially come forward to make a bid. But I presume that'll happen in short order.
All right. Let's look down the road a little bit. The future of the New York Mets hinges basically on the Madoff trustees' clawback lawsuit against Mets owners Fred Wilpon and Saul Katz. In the event that they need to sell the team, do you think they'll use Chapter 11 to affect the transaction?
Well, Chapter 11 isn't a bowl of cherries, as I think McCourt will tell you, and as I think
it's an understatement.
Right. And so it's really a last resort, and I think there's some other issues at play there, namely, whether or not the Einhorn deal gets closed.
Right, that still hasn't closed. Many
has
people
not.
were under the impression that was a done deal. It's not.
Right. So There are a number of variables there. I think it would be unfortunate if the Mets had to seek bankruptcy protection to get a recapitalization done.
Just looking at this from the macro perspective for a moment, Major League Sports franchises in bankruptcy is an infrequent occurrence, yet we've seen two in the same league in a year's time. Mm-hmm. Do you expect more professional sports franchises to make their way into bankruptcy court in the near future?
Well, look, we're in an era where, because sports have become such a big business, owners of sports teams are able to incur a great deal of leverage. And oftentimes, as we know in other businesses, that leverage turns out to be more than the company can bear. So, Chapter 11, is a button that gets pushed sometimes when you get down that path. When you look at the finances of a number of teams in different leagues, there's a lot of leverage out there. The NBA looks like they're not going to play basketball this year. I don't know how many of the owners, particularly in the smaller markets, are going to be able to kind of keep their nose above water level without that revenue source coming in. I think there's some lingering issues in the NHL that may end up requiring bankruptcy intervention.
And of course, for the first time in a long time, we have an American consumer that just finds itself flat on its back. That can't be helping the situation.
Right. Although I can speak more about baseball than the other sports. I know baseball tickets and attendance are up.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Across the league.
When you look out there on the playing field, so to speak, excuse the pun, of course, any sports teams in particular that you think we might see walking into Chapter 11 anytime soon?
I can't think of any particular names that I could say publicly.
All right, Tom. Let's leave it there for now. Thanks so much for coming in.
Great. Thanks. Enjoyed it.
That's Tom Lauria of White Case. For more information, you can find Bloomberg Law's Bankruptcy Law Report available on BloombergLaw.com. I'm Pacchia. Thanks so much for watching.